Here in the studio, former Speaker of the House, Mr. Philip Gunn. We're just talking about some of the things going on at the Capitol, some of the things that went on in his time down there. And one of the topics I wanted to ask him about that I found really interesting was the Democrats forcing all the bills to be read, the budget bill and everything. And that was kind of played a part of them being stuck down there to 2 a.m. the other night. Philip, tell us about that, this whole reading the bill stuff.
Yeah, that's an antiquated provision of our Constitution. Our Constitution was written in 1894, and within that is a provision that says any legislator can request a bill to be read before they vote on it. Now, think back to 1894, why that might have existed. A number of reasons. First of all, not everybody had a copy of the bill. Today, we have duplicating machines. The bills are on the computer. You can read them in real time. They didn't have that in 1894, so not everybody could read the bill. Secondly, not everybody could read. And so some folks would say, hey, I want to make sure I know what I'm voting on. Can you read the bill before we vote on it? And back then, bills were handwritten, and they weren't that long, maybe a page or two. It didn't take forever. That provision still exists in our Constitution, and today it's used as it's the closest thing we have to a filibuster, and so it is abused. And so when people get mad or they get upset about something, they want to demonstrate their protest, they'll stand up and ask for the bill be read. So that's what happened over the last couple of days in the House. If anybody watched and paid attention, you had this the Democrats who were not happy. I don't know why they weren't happy.
Well, they're Democrats.
I've talked to some of my colleagues down there and said, did y'all ever determine what the upset was? Why were they upset? Because normally that's not done unless somebody's just mad about something. All I can figure is they just didn't like the way the Republicans were spending the money. The priorities are different sometimes on how we spend money, and it was just their way of protesting.
It wasn't being distributed to a bunch of nonprofits in Jackson?
Probably. I don't know what their priorities were, but they for whatever reason, they were upset. So they requested, the way the process works is a bill's brought up, it's discussed, questions are asked, amendments are offered, and then you vote. Well, before you vote, somebody can say, I want the bill read. Well, if a bill is 400 pages long, it can take the entire day to read that bill. When the Democrats were in control, Billy McCoy was the speaker, he got tired of that, and he bought a machine to read the bills. It's a computer program that will read the bills. Well, when I became speaker, and the first time they requested to read the bills, I asked the clerk, does that thing have a speed control on it? And he said, yes. I said, well, turn it up to 10. Whatever the fastest speed is, do it. Well, if you listened, it just goes like that. And so the Democrats hollered when I did that. And they actually
Fred
sued
sent me a video of it because you wonder what that noise in the background is.
Right.
That's
what it
speed
is.
reader.
It sounds like an old cassette tape that's being fast forwarded. Well, they sued me over it, claiming that I was, violating the rules. And I said, no, it says the Constitution says you got to read it. It doesn't say you got to understand it. And so they sued me and went all the way to the Supreme Court. And to the Supreme Court's credit, they ruled that we have separation of powers in this country. The judicial, the legislative, the executive branch, each run within themselves, and we don't bleed over and tell the other side how they have to run.
So you make your rules and...
That's right. And if the members of the House disagree with the way it's being run, then they have the power within themselves to change that or operate. But we, the Supreme Court, can't tell the House of Representatives how they must conduct their business. And so that settled the issue, and today you have the machine that reads the bills when it's requested. I prided myself in the last probably 4 years of my service that we didn't read a single bill. In fact, I can't recall a time when they read bills like they did over the last 2 days. And all that is a delay tactic. It's the closest thing we have to a filibuster, and that's why you saw that. If anybody watched and paid attention, that's what you saw.
Have you ever seen the movie Spinal Tap?
I don't recall that I have.
So it came out in the early 80s, I believe. I think it's going to come back out here soon. But it's about a fictitious band named Spinal Tap. And it's one of those things where if anything can go wrong with the band, it will go wrong.
Yeah.
But, most musical instrument amplifiers and cross-stereo amplifiers go up to 10.
Yes.
And you mentioned it going to 10. Well, all of their amps went to 11.
Oh, okay.
So I'd be back there figuring out a way to draw an 11 on this thing.
There you go.
Let's turn it up to 11. Can we go a little bit faster,
a little bit higher,
louder,
a little bit faster. That's
on
right.
this? Let's turn it up to 11. That was a good
right.
Spinal Tap moment.
Well, let me tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
One time, it worked to their disadvantage. We were trying to pass a charter school bill back in 2013, 2014 maybe, and we felt like it was a valuable bill. Well, the Democrats just hated that, and they wanted to read the bill. Well, it took 2.5 hours for the machine to read the bill. And many of my members had already gone home. It was late at night. It's the longest debate in the history of the Mississippi legislature. We didn't finish till 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, it gave me time to call them and say, get back down here. We're fixing to vote on this thing. So many of them had gone home. It gave me time to bring them back, and we got the vote done and got it passed. So
And we got charter
it didn't
schools
work
in
to their
Mississippi.
advantage.
There's a bunch of charter school fans. I am a charter school fan. I was telling Philip off air, I'm just not I'm trying to come around on school choice, but I ain't there yet.